And look, we need courage, we need strength, and we need good information to continue this walk. And one of the places we get it is through a chat with Pat.
Yes, and today I'm so excited. We have with us Dr. Anne Hendershott. She is a professor of sociology and director of the Veritas Center for Ethics and Public Life at Franciscan University in Steubenville, Ohio, and the author of The Politics of Deviance. But today we are talking with her about an article that appeared in the Catholic Thing called The Dignity of Work in Catholic Social Thought. Good morning, Anne. How are you today?
Oh, good morning, Pat. I'm so happy to be on with you again. Thank you for having me.
Oh, love having you on. And this was a great article because I think this really drilled into the heart of our issues that we may have with AI and work. And you specifically mentioned an article written by Arthur Brooks entitled, I think it was 2028, AI Has Made You Much Happier. But I think, you make a good point that he's missing things concerning work and happiness, especially from Catholic social thought. You want to cue us in on that?
Yes. I love Arthur Brooks. I love his work. I think he's wonderful, but I think he misses the point in his press, free press article. Is where it was on his Substack first. He tries to look into the future at 2 years from now, and the title is AI Has Made You Happier. And, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I use AI for research, and it's very handy. It gives you answers quickly. But his idea is that it's going to free us from work. So we're going to have so much more leisure time to spend doing play things, whatever we want to do, that AI is going to free us because it's going to take away routine labor. And he treats routine and even intellectual labor as if it was a nuisance, like email's a nuisance, and it is. Data work, nuisance, but all those things I make the argument in this article, those kind of things are kind of important.
Yes.
I don't want that work to be eliminated entirely because it's part of who I am. Answering an email, if I just ask AI to answer for me, that's not answering an email.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't want my students using AI to write an essay. I tell them to use AI to look up data. Like they have a paper due this week on doing some research on poverty rates for 5 states, compare and contrast, and correlate those with single parent rates and out of wedlock rates. Right. And they learn a lot that way. But if they ask AI just to do that completely,
paper form,
AI can give them the data, but they have to analyze it and do the compare and contrast and say, why is Detroit less wealthy than other cities? I hate to pick on Detroit or Flint, but they just are because they have sky-high out-of-wedlock rates. And so maybe if they didn't have such, and they also have high unemployment rates, but not as bad as other places. So I want them to learn that. And if they just let AI do the whole work, like Arthur Brooks seems to think, that would not be a good thing. They wouldn't learn. Just like I learned them when I'm grading. There's programs in AI that we're told to use, not at Franciscan, but teachers can use to grade all their papers. How would I know who they are if I let AI grade their papers? Yeah. How would I be able to write them a letter of recommendation if I've never seen any work that they did?
Exactly.
It's just, no, this isn't going to work. And I think he misses it because Catholic teachings teaches us from Genesis that work dignity lies not in how efficient it is, but in how it forms discipline and character and skills and meaning. I get meaning from my work. Now, I know I'm lucky. I'm a professor, and that's always been meaningful work. But even like when I was younger and I had other kinds of jobs that AI could have taken. I worked in a library, stacking books, shelving books. I learned a lot doing that.
Yeah.
I'm sure a robot could do that today, eventually. But I know so much about books now, and I remember the Dewey Decimal System. I was in high school then. That was my first job. But I learned a lot in that job. And those jobs, if they're all taken away, what will happen?
Yeah. And you make a point, Anne, that I'd like you to kind of explain a little bit. What do you mean when you say when AI removes the substance, it risks removing the vocation? Can you explain that?
Yes, because his idea, Arthur Brooks draws a line between complicated tasks,
Yes.
which is like solvable or mechanical, and those tasks are important. And he differentiates them from existential tasks, the smart things.
Okay.
But what he calls busy work, I would call important work.
Yeah.
Busy work is, there's all sorts of things that keep us busy, but that's part of the vocation. Like I said, I'm not going to get to know my students unless I know my students. And I can get to know my students in an online class. It doesn't have to be based, but they have to put themselves out there themselves when they respond to weekly discussion posts.
Right.
And they tell me things in these discussion posts that I get to know them and I understand them and I can help them. But if they have Einstein, which is this new AI program that can tell, Einstein assures students that they will do the work while you sleep. They can do the whole online class for them.
Oh my gosh.
that's a bad thing.
Ooh, no kidding.
And I don't think Brooks intended that. I just don't. But his idea, what I really think he misses out is the value of leisure. Now, leisure time is nice, but I'm old enough to remember in the 1970s, there was all this wonderful day coming. We were promised that we would all have so much leisure time we wouldn't know what to do with it. And in sociology, they offered courses like the sociology of play or leisure over the life cycle, because we were being trained. Those are the easiest classes, so of course I took them. And they were silly. They were like, because we were promised that automation in the 70s would reduce our working hours. That was even before computers were really taking over.
Yeah.
The promise was we'd have this surplus of free time and we'd need help learning how to use it. And really, Catholic teachings, that's very counter to Catholic teaching in that, we want leisure time, and Catholics appreciate leisure time, but the crisis isn't how to fill free time. It's how to recover a moral vision of work that resists both AI and the automation that was promised us in the past. Leisure is important, but it can't be a substitute for meaningful work.
Yeah.
And even retired people find ways to have meaningful work. We all need meaning from work.
Yes.
Life isn't about play. Christ never promised us days of play. He just didn't.
Yeah. And I love that, you make so many wonderful statements in here, but it is this sense that our culture, and I'd love to talk to you more in the future about how we almost see work as like a terrible thing. That's what's presented to us. Do everything to get away from work, But like you said, we have a beautiful tradition. We're coming up on the Feast of St. Joseph the Worker here in a couple of weeks. So we have a beautiful tradition in our church. Yeah. Oh, Anne, thanks for being with us. Have a good week ahead.
Thanks so much. Good to talk with you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.